Welcome back to today's Explainer. We've got an absolutely fascinating breakdown for you today, zeroing in on one of the most famous declarations out there, John 17:17. Thy word is truth. But here's the twist. We aren't just analyzing the text itself today. The source material actually holds a mirror right up to our own daily spiritual habits. So whether you've been reading scripture for decades or you're literally just starting out, this breakdown is going to fundamentally challenge how and why you engage with the text. Let's just jump right in. So, how do Christians read the Bible? I know, it sounds like a super simple question, right? But the research we're looking at acknowledges a pretty hard truth. Systematic, chapter-by-chapter reading is rapidly declining. In our crazy fast-paced world, sitting down to really thoughtfully study the text, well, it's kind of becoming a lost art. As we walk through this, I want you to actively reflect. Think about which category you fall into. Are we reading for actual transformation, or are we just going through the motions?
Okay, Section 2. Those who read for duty. The duty-bound.
If you're cracking the book just once a week, say only on a Sunday, you probably fit right into this category. You know, some folks read so carelessly that the second they close the cover, they've already forgotten where they were. But the craziest part highlighted here? Reading simply because there are no other books around. It's like treating this ancient, profound scripture like an old magazine in a dentist's waiting room. When we rush through it just to tick a box or do it because everyone else is doing it, a life-changing text gets reduced to a mere chore. It's an empty ritual, not an engaging study.
Moving on to Section 3. Those who read for self. The ego-driven. Now this builds into a massive pitfall. Ego-driven habits include reading solely to judge other people, or reading just to show off your knowledge to your peers. Then you've got those who dig into the text strictly for ammunition, right? They're reading just to state opposing views or win an argument. But honestly, the most common trap highlighted here is reading only to confirm the preconceived notions you already have. If your primary goal is just validating your own biases or proving you're the smartest person in the room, you completely miss the transformative power of the text. It's no longer a tool for growth, it's literally just a weapon to feed the ego. Now check out this contrast between learning for yourself versus learning just to teach others. It is so easy to fall into the habit of reading solely to prep a sermon, lead a study group, or just give advice to someone else. But the research makes a really profound point here. When your focus is 100% on instructing others, your own personal spiritual growth actually starves. You stop letting the words speak to you. I mean, you can't pour from an empty cup, right? And reading just to teach guarantees that cup stays bone dry.
Right, let's hit Section 4. Those who read superficially. The cherry pickers. So, superficial reading fundamentally fragments the larger message. This is when people treat the scripture purely as a 3,000-year-old history project, obsessively researching exactly how David killed a lion, instead of looking for actual spiritual truth. Or, get this, treating it like a race, literally timing how fast they can finish a book, like it's some kind of Olympic sprint. Some folks only stick to the short, comfortable chapters like Psalms, or they rely entirely on daily devotional booklets without ever opening the actual Bible. Others just blindly follow commentators without even using their own minds. Look, by rushing, hunting for historical trivia, or relying solely on devotionals, the cohesive narrative is totally fractured. It's like having a bunch of disconnected puzzle pieces, but you never get to see the beautiful picture they form. And this brilliantly illustrates the ultimate danger of the cherry-picking method, grabbing single, isolated verses totally out of context. The source material points to examples like Exodus 9:16 or Romans 7:17. People constantly pluck verses like these out of thin air just to claim a promise or justify a mindset, completely ignoring the paragraphs before and after them. The argument here is that reading this way, without understanding the broader narrative or historical context, fundamentally misreads the text. Honestly, it's exactly like trying to understand a 2-hour movie by watching a 5-second clip. You're going to miss the plot. Section 5. The consequence of wrong reading. So, where does all this lead? To one hard, striking reality. Because of this, many cannot understand the greatness of the Bible. These fragmented, misguided habits have literally robbed modern believers of the ability to witness the true majesty of the scriptures. They can't see the depth, the cohesive brilliance, or the life-changing power because their reading habits keep them stuck in the shallow end. Think about it. They are holding an ocean in their hands, but they're treating it like a puddle. Which brings us to Section 6, the purpose of this class. Thankfully, there's a solution to this modern crisis. The class outlines 3 transformative goals. First up, moving away from just guessing or self-imposing meaning, and instead using actual research and study tools. Second, gaining a comprehensive, full-picture knowledge of the entire Bible. We're moving way beyond those cherry-picked short chapters, guys. And third, building a deep, genuine thirst for the Word. This applies equally to those who stand up and preach and to those who sit and listen. Committing to systematic, sincere study replaces all those broken habits with a passionate understanding of the entire text. It's an absolute game changer.
We're wrapping up today's explainer with a seriously powerful verse from Psalm 138:2, which states, "For thou hast magnified thy word above all thy name." This perfectly captures the immense reverence the source material argues we need to bring to our study. So I want to leave you with one final, provocative question. Having seen this mirror held up to these different habits, are you going to continue to just skim the surface out of duty or ego? Or are you ready to systematically dive into the true greatness of the Word? Thanks for hanging out with me today, and keep exploring.